On this episode, we're going to answer the question, is it ever too early to teach a move in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
We're talking about those dark art moves, man. Open Mat Chronicles.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome back, you guys. Open Mat Chronicles, 1865 Rod here. We're coming back at you guys once again. And as always, we got my man Schaefer.
What's up, everybody? Schaefer in the house. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, we got a good one today, dude. You want to spit it out to him or what?
Okay, so I actually got the idea from you because you were teaching the dark arts, the mystic arts. So, what do you think, man? Is it too early to teach certain moves to lower belts?
Huh. Like,
what's the context here? Like, you want to teach your wrist locks, damn it!
yeah. I started out. I did a whole wrist lock class on Friday. Yeah. Did a whole wrist lock class Friday.
That's pretty good.
I thought it was good too, man. Everybody enjoyed it. It was funny. So, I'm coming back off the injury, right? And I was like, damn, I can't do like all the load up sweeps and everything like with that messed up leg. And I was like, what can I do that's kind of lazy but effective? But freaking effective. So I was like, all right, everybody. I was like, today, I think we're going to do wrist locks. I was like, is that okay? Everybody was like, hell yeah. Like, they were actually excited, right? They love my wrist lock classes. So we had maybe five, 6 white belts, maybe. Yeah. And I was like, okay, listen, you can't do wrist locks. I was like, but it doesn't make sense to learn wrist locks when you're allowed to do wrist locks, because as soon as you get to that position, to that belt, everybody's going to start wrist locking your ass.
Yeah, which is you're not going to know, right, for everybody.
Yeah, blue belt. Yeah. So that's what we were going to talk about today. Like we're gonna give our perspective on, should you teach moves prior to the belt that allows the moves?
But you know what I like? You're explaining that this is like the one little nugget you get as a blue belt, right? You get nothing. Except this one little thing.
That's it. Yeah, because, man, I've got some shit, right? I have black belts who still complain about me wrist locking them. And I always thought that was just insanity. I was like, how are you? You're probably 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years outside of having ever been a white belt. And you're still complaining about the very first additional move that's allowed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's like, at a white belt, you're not supposed to wrist lock anybody, right? Just focus on your fundamentals, do all your good shit. But then you get this blue belt, and it's like, it's prison time. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, we're doing prison rules from this point forward. Yeah. You think you're funny, you want to reach out and grab somebody's gi. If you put your hands on one, you might get wrist locked.
So let me ask this: do you think that's the culture in most schools now, or is, I almost think like everybody's teaching everything now?
I think that's happening more in no-gi.
Oh, for sure, no-gi.
I think no-gi,
right out the gate.
No-gi, they're like, hey, welcome to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let me show you this heel hook. Yeah. Like they just jump right in with both feet, throw them into the deep end, right? But in a gi, I think, a lot of people still try to hold on to a more traditional, layout, a more traditional plan of action, and they progress them through. Yeah. And, I don't want to drop a knee bar on a white belt, even though I did I did mention that. I was like, hey, and we're going to learn these wrist locks. And I was like, fuck it, we might as well do knee bars too, right? But that was only in response to, if you're wearing your white belt, don't go around wrist locking people, because they're not going to expect it, right? Because they're like, oh, well, you know what? They shouldn't be wrist locking. So if I'm rolling with somebody who's a lower belt than me, way lower, let's say purple and down, right? Don't freaking twisting foot lock me, or toe hold, whatever the hell y'all call it here on the West Coast. Don't knee bar me. And if you're if you're a white belt, don't wrist lock me, right? Yeah. Because I'm not even defending against it, because you shouldn't be doing it. But I was like, but if you give me the heads up, you're like, hey man, I want to work on this other stuff. hell yeah, do that shit. But it's coming back.
But if they tell you, then you're gonna be ready for it.
But that's the point.
I know.
That's the point. Like,
I have.
if we're about to do an MMA class,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking we're just gonna roll, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna punch this motherfucker in the face. He's not gonna be ready for that.
Yeah.
Well, no shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were doing an MMA class.
Yeah.
You know, same deal. You wear a white belt. I don't expect a wrist lock. I don't expect a knee bar, and I don't expect a twisting foot lock.
Heel hook.
Well, heel hook
Obviously
in the gi. Old school Helio heel hook in the gi. Nah, you shouldn't be doing that shit.
I know. So I kind of mixed feelings on it because our school, Gus seems to hold more of a traditional approach where he wants you to use the appropriate moves for each belt level, which I guess I get it. It makes sense on paper. It sounds good,
Yeah.
and it is probably a good way to teach. The only issue I have though is that it might, with everybody else teaching everything, you might be handicapping your students a little bit, right? You know, you're a freaking purple belt. You can't do a heel hook because, you know what I mean? Because no one should. Honestly, I didn't start doing heel hooks until I was like a late purple.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
But
dude.
look
Now,
how fast
off
you
rip,
learned
you're doing
it.
a heel hook now. White belt, day one.
So the thing with like some of these jailhouse moves, the dark art moves,
Yeah.
right? They're not super hard to learn. And I mean, hell, nothing's really super hard to learn. If if you put your effort in, you'll learn it. But to show somebody how to grab somebody's hand, grab his elbow,
Yeah.
and then accordion him, or if he has his elbow on the mat, just gooseneck and push down. Those aren't hard things to teach.
Correct.
And it's not a hard concept to grasp. It's not like, here we go. Something simple. We all know it. But realistically, there's quite a bit to it. An arm bar, right? You gotta control the arm, isolate the elbow over your groin basically, so that you can create a fulcrum, and then you can press upwards with your hips as you're pulling downward on the top of the arm.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta pinch the legs together. You gotta secure the upper body. Like, there's actually a good bit
Oh yeah.
to an arm bar.
Oh yeah. Just
Right.
getting into the position.
Yeah.
You did a lot of work to get there. You had to pass the guard.
Whereas wrist lock, you're like, okay, if he's mounted on you
Yeah.
and he reaches up to grab you, you can wrist lock. If you're mounted on him and he reaches to push you off, wrist lock. If you're on side mount, wrist lock. If he has your back and he reaches over, grab his elbow, grab his wrist, wrist lock. They're everywhere, right? It's not hard to teach that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's nice that it's the first new move they can get, because it's not hard to add into their existing game.
Yeah, their little platform. It's their little equalizer. Their first equalizer.
Yes, because what they did learn was, get position before submission, get this, get that. But a lot of times when people are learning position before submission, they reach out in ways that are unrealistic if you don't want to get tapped, right?
True.
They do things that they're comfortable doing because, nobody's going to do this to me. Nobody's going to stop me from just getting a good collar grip. But then when they do a good collar grip and then you trap that hand and you grab that elbow and you lean in, then they go, maybe I can't just collar grip the way I've been doing. No shit, Sherlock.
It definitely increases your awareness.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's what every new move that gets added, that's what it does. It forces you to increase your awareness. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself a little fucked up.
Okay, so how does that circle back to the question? Should we be teaching white belts wrist locks?
Yes, of course you should teach white belts wrist locks. You should also teach white belts knee bars,
Heel
and
hooks.
twisting foot locks, and
Everything.
heel hooks.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
But the question isn't if you should, it's when during their training should you, right? Absolutely, they should understand the mechanics of the move, but maybe not day one.
Like my thought is a white belt, there's a big difference between a day one white belt and a guy who's ready to get his blue belt, right? If you've been training for about, a year or so, the fundamentals.
Right.
I don't see any problem with learning, to go into leg locks then. Start learning some basic leg locks and whatever, all of it, knee bars, everything, heel hooks, everything.
Absolutely.
But learn your fundamentals. You got to learn how to guard pass. You got to learn how to retain guard. You have to have and that may take 2 years for some guy. In which case, I would kind of hold off on the legs until you get those things mastered.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Because a lot of people go, I'm going to just ankle lock or do this because I don't know how to pass.
Yeah, because honestly, like the straight ankle lock, in a way, is a hack, right?
It's a hack.
It's like you're playing those games. What are those video games?
Hell yeah.
And you find this little...
Up, down, down, left, right, left,
you
right.
Hack. So you do the hack and you start beating everybody, but it doesn't really make you better in a way.
Because you didn't go through the hero's journey.
You
didn't actually go through the shit you needed to harden yourself. Yes. You didn't forge yourself in fire. You're just like, I'm still soft as fucking baby shit. But you know what? I know how to do this, and they don't know how to block it.
Yeah.
What they say, dude, like, you get yourself a mid-level purple belt who's really good at heel hooks and throw his ass on a brown belt who's been training for a long time, gi and without too much no gi, boy, he'll eat his lunch. He'll be heel hooking the shit out of him. He's like, what happened? And then the brown belt goes, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Let me tighten this shit up.
Yeah.
I remember we had some guys from, was it MMA Gold? Dude, they came through, and I ain't gonna lie, my heel hook game was not on point. And we're going, and this big dude, I can't remember his name. I want to say it was Ryan or something like that. But, dude, he caught me in like 5 heel hooks. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? I told him, that shit ain't never going to happen again. I was like, that shit's never going to happen again. When you come back, I promise you, this part of my game will be tightened the fuck up.
That's cool. See, I have no problem with that. Here's my school of thought, too, on, I guess, doing those moves against white belts.
Oh.
Okay, could you, like, leg lock a white belt? It's legal and everything, but... Like you can, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't have to, right?
Correct.
So what if I go with a brand new guy? Why would I leg lock him? That makes 0 sense. Like it's just taking candy from a baby. It's silly. Like come on, dude. I'm not gonna leg lock you.
Candy from a baby is a good analogy,
right?
Absolutely.
So once they start getting a little skill in, they know how to defend a little bit, they got a little guard. If they give me a little problems, then I'll start throwing some little leg locks in. Hey man, you guys can watch out for this too. This is another possible.
That's legit, right? Yeah. Because they start to get comfortable in what they do know.
Yeah.
And then you have to take them out of their comfort zone.
Exactly.
Remember we always say, right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And if you jump on them the first week, you go, you don't even know what the hell to look for, but I'm going to hit some old freaking Mystics art shit on you, right? I'm going to hit you with the Den Mock and you don't even know how to tie your belt. That's not right. Don't do that.
But check it out. I think if you did that normal path, like I'm not going to do anything until I'll do straight leg locks at white belt, but I won't do knee bars, toe holds, heel hooks until I get my brown belt. You're going to suck, dude, at leg lock when you get to your brown belt. Absolutely. You're not going to be proficient.
Absolutely. And as an instructor, you shouldn't allow that to happen to your students.
Yeah.
Listen, you owe it to them to keep them well-rounded, right? You should be showing them that stuff. And quite honestly, if you're involved enough, you watch the progression of your students and you go, okay, little Timmy's been here for like a year. He's not a blue belt by any freaking stretch of the imagination, but he knows how to bump and roll. He knows how to do a freaking Uber. He knows how to do this. He knows how to do that. But he has some huge holes in his game, as he should, because he's only been doing it for a year, right? Let me at least show him this wrist lock before he does get his blue belt, because he's starting to get really good with this or that or the other thing, but he's extending his arms. He's getting those straight arms. And I always learned that a straight arm is a gift from God in jiu-jitsu, right? It's like you stick your arm out straight, you're begging to get it kind of broke off from one position or another, right? Arms, keep them in tight, T-Rex arms. So yeah, man, the instructor should be showing them some stuff. The instructor says, okay, it's time to sprinkle a little bit extra something on them,
I think what I did was, so all throughout my white belt journey, I was into leg locks a lot, but just straight, ankle locks, belly downs, all that stuff, just your traditional leg locks, but from a variety of different positions. So I got pretty good at just straight ankle locks, right? And then when I got my blue belt, I threw in knee bars. That's when I started going down the whole knee bar rabbit hole, and I got pretty good at knee bars. And then when I got my purple belt, I started doing like heel hooks and toe holds. Right? And so then I started getting pretty good at those. And by the time I got my brown belt, I was I was pretty proficient already at the whole game because I had been doing them and sprinkling them in, a little bit at a time while I was coming up the ranks.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like, that makes perfect sense, man. You're not allowed to do them don't show up at another guy's school.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about, hey, man, I'm a blue belt or a purple belt. I'm knee bar in all these schools. No, don't do that. In the gi. I'm going to knee bar. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
If it's no gi,
that's a differentiator.
No gi. Now we're talking a whole different world, right? No gi is simply, are you a beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Beginner, don't do any of that crazy shit.
But I expect it.
But
I expect it. I don't care if you're day one,
no-gi,
you come out the rash guard. I'm expecting you're going to try to do anything.
Yeah.
In no-gi.
And the reason you would expect it is because if you're walking in, no one has any rank or no way of seeing where you are in the pecking order, so you have no clue what to expect.
Yeah.
Right? So I get that. You could have a brand new day one, he's a white belt, but he's not wearing a white belt.
Yeah.
Yet he's learned nothing but heel hooks from the time he started in no-gi.
He might be wearing one of our unranked Chronicles rash guards, which, by the way, we got them coming.
Oh yeah, that's true. We do have some. We have some rash guards coming.
They look good too, man.
That'd be cool. They did. You showed me the proofs. You showed me the proofs. I was like, wow.
We'll put the proof in though.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, for
so
sure.
we'll have them available. This first run's going to be for our school.
Yes.
But then after that, we'll have them available for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. I think.
First one's kind of a one-off, so when you see it, it'll have Infinite Jiu-Jitsu on the back, but that just one-off type.
Yeah. That's for all the homies. That's for everybody. Too, yeah. That's for everybody who already lives out here in NorCal and all that good shit.
They had some connection to Infinite at one point in time.
Hell yeah.
Which is the whole community.
That's damn near everybody in NorCal. It seems like all of our guys are like everywhere. It's pretty cool. So yeah, if you get these guys, they've been training, but they have no indication of their rank, especially in no-gi, then absolutely, you better be ready for anything. Because you're thinking, I'm going to just kind of work out and do this. And then this guy goes, I learned this Imahari roll, to 411. What the hell? Like, how long you been training? 3 weeks.
But here's the next thing, too. Okay, let's say you got a blue belt that's working on knee bars, for example. Why can't he knee bar the white belts? Because if you're working on, I don't know, let's say you're working on a Berimbolo. You're going to try a Berimbolo every white belt in there until you get good, right? And that's what you're supposed to do. White belts are kind of there to they're food. Yeah, I hate to say it. No, but yeah, they're there for that, right? So you don't start trying to Berimbolo the black belt or the brown belt.
Because it'll never work.
It ain't going to work.
Here's why. And again, this is also why, let me throw the caveat in after. You don't do it because they have no fucking clue what you're doing.
Yeah, but what about the Berimbolo?
Okay, but a Berimbolo, they can learn it. That actually is something that they could be taught in the class. You might have a whole Berimbolo class, right? And technically, yes, it's a very advanced move, but it's an advanced move just to take someone's back. It's not an advanced submission.
That's
right.
At the end of the day, they're getting your back.
Yeah, they're just getting your back. Like, if you tell a joker, hey, man, I'm going to wrist lock you, knee bar you, heel hook you, I'm going to gouge you in the eyes, I'm going to freaking hit you with the oil check, I'm going to do all that, everything's a go. And they go, okay, then cool, go for it. I got no problem with that.
You could just do the move and just don't do the submission. Like, a lot of times, I'll do, crazy knee bar entries on a white belt, I don't care, but I just won't do it. I'll just say, I knew I had. I just let it go, and then I go to. He's not even aware.
He doesn't even know he's in danger.
He doesn't even know what happened.
Now that is, I like.
That's
that.
the way I do it.
I like that. Yeah, it's catch and release.
Catch and release.
Okay, I can dig that. Right.
Or sometimes I won't even catch because it's like it's right there.
It's there.
Yeah. I just want to get the
transition.
transition, get the like in order to finish it, I just grab it, and I'm not going to grab it.
I'm down with that.
All right, let's do that. Everybody
do that. Everybody do that. If you're going to do moves and not give the heads up, don't actually finish the move. Scare them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grab them, go, and then let them go. And you're like, what the hell just happened? You're like, were you about to hurt me? It's like, nah, it's good. It's good. You're safe.
But I do that all the time, man. I'll be like rolling into something, maybe like a heel hook from the backside.
Right.
Goes to see me, and be like with the wife and say, "Run, stop!" I'm like, "Yeah, I got this. No, I can actually rip his heel off."
I ain't gonna lie. I've even yelled at Joe, I'm like, don't do it.
Shut up, he's looking out for his looking out for his people's needs.
It's like the whole Rocky movie. You're like, throw in the damn towel. Yeah, don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. That's fair though. Yeah, if you catch and release, if you kind of just threaten with it and don't finish it, like after a while, they'll probably go, "Were you about to do something to me? You just didn't do it." You're like, "Yeah, you're paying attention, young Padawan," right? And that's cool. That's cool. I have no problem with that either. If you don't submit them with it, go for it.
Yeah. But
ultimately, should you teach these young men and women these moves? Yes.
Okay, I got one for you.
Fire away.
This is a little controversial.
Oh, shit.
What about moves that are really, they could be good, but they have a high risk of causing injury? I'll give you an example.
I'll give you an example. Let me hear it.
No, this is going to be all dark now. It's going to get all
I get it. I know one that for sure that people stop doing.
Remember the guy that broke his neck? Because he did that back thing where he rolled over him and he didn't do it properly, and the guy on the bottom freaking snapped his neck and he's paralyzed? Yeah. Okay, like, should he even have done that high-level move that's very risky against a lower belt guy to begin with? I don't want to open the can of worms, but I'm just using that as an example. I don't want to. Let's not talk about that guy.
Right. But just something that could cause
something that could cause. Yeah, like what's the ROI, man? Is it really worth it?
If it's something that comes on very fast and that's hard to regulate, how fast or how intense you apply the move, then I would say always err on the side of caution, especially if you're rolling with people that you like, right? Like, you are responsible to a degree for your rolling partners, right?
Yeah,
you don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt them because if you do, now you can't roll with them anymore.
No, you're right, dude. Like, the way that I look at it, my mentality is when I'm rolling with somebody, I don't care who it is, my primary, objective, my main focus is to make sure that they don't get hurt.
Yeah, safety.
Then my secondary focus is to make sure that I don't get hurt by them.
Think about it. Remember I told you Hassett's his rule set, right? It's very simple. Be safe, have fun, learn something.
Yeah.
That's the rules. Damn near every rule in jiu-jitsu can be encompassed in those three things. You can go levels to being safe, right? You can be levels to having fun. You can have levels to learning something, right? But being safe could be something as simple as don't walk on the mats with your shoes because it's safer because you're not transferring shit to the mat. You know what I mean? Like, all those things fit into those three rules.
So would you say that there's some moves that are strictly competition moves that maybe you shouldn't teach? But here's a good one would be like like that scissor takedown. That's probably like the most dangerous move in jiu-jitsu.
That's exactly the one.
Knees out, right?
So here's the thing with that, though, right? How do you learn how to do it if you don't practice it?
I know.
You have to, man. Like we said, we're not at the Matrix yet. You can't just plug that shit in.
Yeah.
You have to do it. You have to practice, which means you need some tackling dummies, which means you're going to be actually scissor takedowning some of your freaking people, which means they need to be aware and understand how to fall.
Yeah,
so you can't just jump that shit on a bunch of new white belts. Are you going to get them with it? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, which way do I go? Which way do I go? And then you fucking scissor takedown their ass. And you be like, oh, I can't feel my legs. Like, no shit. You don't do that to new people.
Yeah. Can you imagine you slap hands just in a row and you got to scissor takedown?
He just fucks you up. God. It's your first weekend, and then next thing you know, you're fucking in traction. And you're like, how do you like jiu-jitsu, little Johnny? Oh, I love it. I love it, Mom. I can't wait to go back. Once I get out of this freaking...
Once I can walk.
Yeah, once I can walk again. It's like, what the fuck, dude? That was a little extreme. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do your people like that. That's terrible. That's terrible. All right. Yeah, that's the answer. Well, should you teach a shit? Absolutely. You have to teach it. You have to teach everything. You also need to be a good instructor. Pay attention to who you're dealing with and teach accordingly. Yeah. If I would have had a bunch of first week white belts, there's no way I would have taught a wrist lock class. I would have taught my basic. Hey, here's your full guard. Here's this. Here's the things you do. man, just kind of like ease people into that shit. It's like boiling a frog, right? You put them in the water and you just slowly crank up the heat. Same shit. Don't throw your white belts in. Just throw them in the boiling water.
You know what? Here's my issue with that saying.
What's your issue with that saying?
Okay, how many times you're sitting in your freaking bathtub and all of a sudden the water starts slowly getting cold? You're like, I'm out, dude. It's too slowly getting too cold. We know.
I don't know. Like,
so that blows the theory. Or it's like it's too hot. It's getting too hot.
I don't think. Well, look. All right. Let's say you got into some lukewarm water, right? And
You'd be like,
first of all, you have to have a way to regulate it. You got to be able to turn the heat up slowly, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I think you.
You don't think when it's like 100 something degrees, like, oh my God, it's getting hot in here.
Hold on. You try to mess with this freaking analogy, but I'm gonna put a stop to that shit right now. So here's the deal. Frogs are amphibians, and they cannot regulate their own body temperature, and that's why it works. It works because, see, with us, if we would feel it getting hot, we'd be like, what the fuck? And we would get out. Frogs and other amphibians and shit like that, they cannot regulate their own body temperature.
They say that?
Yep, always a frog. Okay. So they don't feel the temperature change. If you drop them in immediately, it'll hit them. But if you slowly bring it up, their body it adjusts until they die.
Okay.
Trying to mess with my shit. So cook your white belts like a frog. That's what I'm basically saying. Cook their ass like a frog. Okay. What else? We answered the damn question, people. We don't normally do that. We usually go, I don't fucking know. But this is
this is pretty straightforward.
This is very straightforward. You should absolutely teach them. Yeah,
but I don't know about that. I'm still on the fence in that one move, the rolling over one where the guy broke his neck. I don't like that.
Well, I think that's only because check it out. You've seen the most tragic result from it.
I've seen the most tragic result, and like, I do this move that could potentially really injure you if it goes sideways. And there's like a higher risk of it going sideways, and for my benefit to get your back. Like, why don't I just find a safer way to get there? You know what I mean? It's not even a submission. Well, I guess it is paralyzed dude.
That's a hell of a submission.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, there's got to be an easier way. Maybe I'm going to just not do that.
So, okay, what about working that with higher rank individuals? You just saying, like, don't do it ever.
I'd be kind of pissed if somebody did that move to me. Like, number one, it wouldn't because I don't go to Turtle. You'll never see me go to Turtle. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Well, what about the people that do go to Turtle?
And this is the way to break it. Careless, or he didn't do it properly, and then the guy, let's say he doesn't get paralyzed, but he like twists his neck really bad, he's out for like a month. You know, there's got to be an easier.
So what about in a competition though? Like, do we ban the whole move?
Now it's getting nuanced.
Right, but if you can't do it, if you can do it in competition, you have to practice it outside of competition. So is there a safe way to practice that move? There has to be, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird the way that it happened. The guy's like arm was trapped or something, so it made his neck like kind of bent.
Gotcha.
So the guy
his whole body folded over top.
Yeah, I think the black belt should have seen that his arm was trapped and that he would roll directly over his head, but for whatever reason, maybe he didn't see it for whatever reason.
Yeah, that would suck.
But I mean, when you're rolling, you're not necessarily going to see every little.
And that's the thing, right? Nuance. Listen, this is still a contact sport. Or martial arts or whatever, and there is always some inherent danger to doing what we do. I mean, nobody wants to most people don't want to hurt the people they're rolling with. You always got that asshole in there.
Like, there's some moves that like I just don't do, like that one. It's like that you're from bottom, you hip up, do that rolling knee bar, and you hit it. You're basically inverted on the guy's knee.
And you slam your groin into his knee.
Yeah, it's so easy to do it. It's like, you'll blow his knee out. It's like, why would I do that in here? It's like, I don't do it.
It's a freaking effective move.
It's a great move.
That's a really
awesome. I used to do it.
I remember Hassan taught that shit like, oh my God. It had to be like 15, 16, 17 years ago I learned. And one of my boys over at Hassan, he got really good at it. But like, he was like 6'4",
got really good. I brought 8 knees.
Yeah, but he actually never did blow anybody's knee out. But when he rolled into that shit,
I know.
Boy, you better go with it.
It's all bad, dude.
You better go with that shit.
You know what? If you like that move, do the move in our little intro where it shows in the upper left hand corner. It's very similar, but you're just rolling
Snatch the leg.
you're rolling through it all the way, and you land on the side, and you scoop up that leg.
Yeah.
It's really supposed to be a takedown, but I was just playing around,
Yeah.
and I was doing a little leg lock thing. But you can do whatever you want, but
For sure.
it's just a cool move. But it gives you that same feeling of like rolling over without actually hitting a knee
Without
bar.
slamming into the knee.
Yeah, because that's like all your weight on a guy's knee.
Yeah, it's scary.
So that's my thing. Some of those moves, I don't know, man.
I know, but
But you should maybe still be aware of it. I don't know. You can't really
that's the
stop
thing.
it though.
Oh, so right,
You can't stop
because
it.
what if you're not aware of it?
It doesn't matter
And
if
that
you are.
other school always practices it, and now you're here
It's all
lost
bad.
in the sauce. Some joker jumps up and hits you with it. You're like, I didn't even know that shit was possible.
You just might get. You're not going to win every match.
No, you're not gonna win every match, but shit, I'd like to walk away from that
I know.
match.
But on that one though, I don't think you could even really. You almost have to prevent it because if you get caught in it, you're done.
So it's awareness.
It's awareness, man.
It's definitely awareness, man.
Because here's where I say, if you can hit the rolling move that, like I did in the intro,
Yeah.
you can hit that knee bar.
Yeah.
Rolling
for
is
sure.
like going on. It's harder actually. The other one's like
Absolutely.
halfway.
Should
So every time I do the
should
rolling, I'm
should
like,
we-
it would have been my knee bar.
should we teach that move during the no-gi week?
The knee bar?
Yeah.
No. I don't want some joker trying to get it to me, and I'm like not thinking about it. I kind of forgot about that move. Until right now, we're talking about scissor takedowns and breaking
Watch.
necks.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, Rod, I want to learn that."
Yeah.
They're gonna come at you next week. They're like, "That's what I want to learn. Show me that." Oh, wise one.
Yeah. Crazy.
Anyway, yes, the answer is teach all this shit and teach it before they reach the belt, but make sure that they give a heads up if they're going to do it to people who are not expecting it, because it's kind of a dick move to have a white belt knee barring you when you're not fighting to your potential.
Yeah.
In order to block knee bars. You're not even thinking, oh, I gotta avoid this knee bar. So you're gonna do shit as a higher belt
Exactly.
that would completely leave you open to
Oh,
a
yeah,
knee
yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
But you would never do it if you knew that was on
That
the
was
table.
coming.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that they really shouldn't be doing it, because at white belt, you should be focused on other things.
Yes.
You shouldn't be worried about defending your legs against knee bars and all that. So it's going to stunt your development.
But if you got a wild hair up your ass and you want to do it, just give them the heads up. Just like, hey man, everything's on the table today. And if they agree to
You
it,
know, just somebody said that, like, yo, shit, what's up, man? We rolling. Everything's on the table.
I'm like, everything?
He's like, are you serious?
Like, can I poke you in the eye? Like, everything? I mean, shit, you got a knife
Like,
on you? I'm like,
it's gonna be
hold
one of
on.
rolls.
Yeah, it's like, so you just want to fight
Yeah, you
me?
want to fight.
I mean, I guess that could be kind of fun. But yeah, you got to give me
Right.
the heads up. You can't just jump up, start punching me on my shit, and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing everything. I'm like, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. Just give me the heads up. Yeah, give me the heads up. All right, that's what's going on. That's what we're doing. Make sure you teach all this shit because it's important. And if it's important to you, you'll find a way. And keep this in mind, it's going to be important to these white belts, and it's going to be important to these other belts as well. They need to learn this stuff. Do it in a safe manner. If it's not important to you, you'll find an excuse, and you'll be like, fuck it, figure it out on your own.
You'll find a way not to do it.
You'll find a way not to do it. You'll go, I don't ever want to learn wrist locks because they hurt. They're the dark arts. Yeah. Learn wrist locks, man. Wrist locks are awesome. Wrist locks are fun. Anyway.
They're pretty cool. They're growing on me a little bit.
They're growing on you because they're awesome, man. Wrist locks are the shit. Everybody should do wrist locks. Why would you ignore like 1% of your body?
It's like a toe hold in a way. It's like
That's it. It's a toe hold on your hand.
Yeah, it basically is. Like,
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a hand toe hold.
a hand toe hold.
Fuck yeah. Tell them what to do, Ron.
Hey man, if you guys like the video, we would definitely appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it out. Keep an eye out for those rash guards. We will be advertising those here pretty soon. And I guess that's about it, man. We'll check you guys out next week. Have some more content. We'll just keep this thing going. Us.